Remember when ordering pizza meant something, when you could actually taste the tomatoes in the sauce, when the cheese stretched instead of congealed, when the crust didn't taste like cardboard soaked in vegetable oil? Those days are fading fast. Right now, across America, millions of families are unknowingly feeding their kids pizza, loaded with synthetic fillers, cheese that's barely cheese, and dough conditioners banned in multiple countries. The worst part? These chains spend millions convincing you their pizza is fresh, authentic, even healthy. In today's video, we're exposing 12 pizza chains you need to think twice about before ordering, from shocking ingredient revelations to quality control nightmares that'll make you never look at delivery the same way again. Stay with me, because at the end, I'll reveal the 4 chains still doing pizza right, the ones where real ingredients and actual quality still matter. Let's start with number 12, a name that dominated the 90s and early 2000s, but has fallen so far, you'll barely recognize what they're serving now. Pizza Hut. Coming in at number 12, we have a chain that practically invented the pizza party. For decades, Pizza Hut was the place, the red roof, the salad bar, the personal pan pizza book club that got millions of kids reading. But here's what's happening behind that nostalgic brand. In 2023, consumer advocacy groups tested Pizza Hut's cheese and discovered something disturbing. Up to 40% of what they call mozzarella isn't actually mozzarella at all. It's a blend. Mozzarella mixed with cheaper cheeses like cheddar, along with cellulose, which is literally wood pulp used as a filler. The FDA allows up to 2% cellulose in shredded cheese to prevent clumping, but tests showed some Pizza Hut locations were pushing those limits. And it gets worse. Their sauce, which should be simple crushed tomatoes, garlic, herbs, is loaded with high fructose corn syrup. One medium pizza's worth of sauce contains nearly 3 tablespoons of added sugar. That's more sugar than you'd find in a glazed donut. The dough is another story entirely. Pizza Hut uses something called dough conditioners, a mix of chemicals including azotocarbonamide. Yes, the same chemical used to make yoga mats and shoe soles. The EU banned it in food back in 2005, but in America, it's perfectly legal. One former Pizza Hut employee posted online about the prep process, describing how the dough arrives frozen, already loaded with preservatives. He said, and this is a direct account, the dough sits in those plastic bags for weeks sometimes before we even use it, and it still looks exactly the same as day one. That's not normal, but perhaps the most troubling revelation came in 2022 when health inspectors in multiple states found repeated violations at Pizza Hut locations: improper food storage temperatures, cross-contamination issues, even rodent droppings in food prep areas. For a brand that once stood for family dining and quality, Pizza Hut has become a shadow of its former self. The nostalgic red roof can't hide what's really on your plate anymore. Little Caesars. At number 11, we arrive at America's bargain pizza king. Little Caesars built its empire on one simple promise: hot and ready for $5. But there's a reason that pizza costs $5, and it's not because they're being generous. Here's the thing about Little Caesars. To hit that price point, they've had to cut every possible corner. Their cheese is a blend heavily weighted toward imitation mozzarella. Industry insiders call it pizza cheese, a mixture of real mozzarella, modified food starch, and flavoring agents designed to melt like cheese without actually being cheese. A former Little Caesars manager shared something revealing on a food service forum. He wrote, "We were trained to use the absolute minimum amount of cheese per pizza. Corporate had these portion guides that were basically, how little can we use before customers complain?" The pepperoni tells a similar story. Instead of traditional pork and beef pepperoni, Little Caesars uses what's called mechanically separated chicken mixed with pork trimmings. It's cheaper, it's more processed, and it lacks that distinctive pepperoni flavor that people expect. But here's where it gets really questionable. Little Caesars Italian cheese bread contains something called L-cysteine, a dough conditioner. Sounds harmless, right? Except L-cysteine is often derived from human hair or duck feathers. Yes, you read that correctly, human hair. While the FDA considers it safe, it's worth knowing that the cheese bread you're eating contains an amino acid that was likely synthesized from hair collected from barbershop floors in China. The European Union requires disclosure when L-cysteine is is used, America doesn't. The crazy bread, their signature breadsticks, aren't much better. They're coated in a butter-flavored oil, not real butter, that contains artificial flavors and more preservatives than actual dairy. What really seals Little Caesars' spot on this list is consistency, or rather, the complete lack of it, because franchises operate with such tight margins. Quality varies wildly from location to location. Some follow protocols, others, desperate to cut costs even further, take shortcuts that would horrify corporate. One food safety inspector noted that Little Caesars locations had among the highest violation rates of any pizza chain in their district, temperature abuse, improper holding times, you name it. For $5, you're not getting a deal, you're getting exactly what you paid for, the cheapest possible pizza that can still technically be called pizza. Domino's sits at number 10, and this might surprise some people. After all, didn't they completely rebrand themselves in 2010 with the whole pizza turnaround campaign, admitting their pizza tasted like cardboard and promising to do better? They did, and to their credit, they improved, but improved from terrible to mediocre still isn't good. Here's what Domino's doesn't advertise. While they upgraded their sauce recipe and added more cheese, they're still using some of the most processed ingredients in the industry. Their garlic seasoning crust, the one they brush on every pizza, isn't garlic at all. It's a blend of soybean oil, salt, and artificial garlic flavoring. Real garlic doesn't appear anywhere in the ingredient list. The cheese situation mirrors Pizza Hut's problem. Testing conducted by food safety organizations found that Domino's mozzarella blend contains significant amounts of palm oil and modified food starch. This isn't illegal, but it's misleading. They market it as 100% real cheese. Technically true, but that real cheese is heavily adulterated with fillers. Domino's also pioneered something disturbing in the pizza industry: algorithmic cheese distribution. Their computerized make lines calculate the absolute minimum amount of cheese needed based on pizza size, then portions it out with ruthless efficiency. An ex-employee shared, "The system weighs the cheese as you put it on. If you go even slightly over, it flags it." Managers got on us constantly about cheese waste. The goal wasn't to make a good pizza. The goal was to hit the exact minimum spec. Then there's the chicken. Domino's chicken wings and chicken toppings come from industrial poultry farms, where chickens are raised in conditions that would shock most consumers. While Domino's has made vague commitments to animal welfare, investigations have shown their suppliers use growth hormones and antibiotics extensively. But the real issue with Domino's is what happened during the pandemic, when delivery times exploded and demand skyrocketed. Quality control went out the window. Health departments across the country cited Domino's locations for violations ranging from employees not washing hands to pizzas being held at improper temperatures for hours. The tracker system, the one that tells you your pizza is in the oven, being quality checked, out for delivery, is largely theater. Multiple employees have confirmed that managers manually advance the tracker whether the pizza is actually ready or not, just to keep the system moving. So yes, Domino's improved from where they were in 2009, but improvement from rock bottom still leaves plenty of room for concern. Papa John's better ingredients, better pizza. That slogan made Papa John's famous. The problem, it was mostly marketing spin. Papa John's sits at number 9, and the fall from grace here is dramatic. They position themselves as the quality alternative for decades. Reality tells a different story. While Papa John's does make dough fresh daily, what goes into that dough is concerning. Beyond flour, water, yeast, and salt, their dough contains soybean oil, dough conditioner, and mono and diglycerides of fatty acids, emulsifiers often derived from partially hydrogenated oils. The trans fats linked to heart disease. That beloved garlic sauce? It's basically soybean oil with artificial butter flavoring and garlic powder. No real butter, no real garlic. Just flavored oil in a cup containing 150 calories and 17 grams of fat per serving. The cheese mirrors the industry standard, a blend with cheaper alternatives and fillers. But what really landed Papa John's here is their vegetable handling. Multiple food safety investigations found inadequate prep procedures. Vegetables weren't washed properly. Cross-contamination between raw meat and vegetables was common. Several foodborne illness outbreaks traced back to Papa John's locations. After John Schnatter's departure, internal reports revealed franchise owners under such intense profit pressure that they routinely cut corners, smaller portions, cheaper ingredients, health violations overlooked. One franchise owner admitted the better ingredients slogan became a joke internally. He said, "We were told to maintain the image while doing whatever it took to hit numbers. Those two things don't go together. Better ingredients? Maybe compared to Little Caesars? Better pizza? That's a stretch." Chuck E. Cheese. Number 8 isn't marketed as quality pizza, it's marketed as kids' entertainment that happens to serve pizza, but that doesn't excuse what they're serving. Chuck E. Cheese has been the subject of conspiracy theories, particularly the claim they recycle uneaten slices. A 2019 viral video showed how their pizzas always have mismatched slices. The company denied it, but the damage was done. Here's what we know. Chuck E. Cheese uses some of the lowest quality ingredients: heavy imitation cheese, sauce that's basically tomato paste with corn syrup, frozen crust shipped from central facilities. The real problem is sanitation. As an entertainment venue, focus stays on games and shows. Pizza quality takes a back seat. Health reports nationwide reveal a pattern: inadequate hand washing, cross-contamination between kitchen and play areas, improper food storage, rodent and insect infestations in some locations. One former employee described it as chaos. Kids everywhere, parents distracted, pumping out pizzas as fast as possible with no time for proper food safety. The salad bar has been cited repeatedly for violations: vegetables sitting out too long, broken sneeze guards, improper temperature control. You're going to Chuck E. Cheese for games, not quality food, but you should still know what you're actually eating. Sbarro sits at number 7. They don't hide what they are: mall pizza, gas station pizza, airport pizza, but even by those low standards, Sbarro has problems. The model is simple: make giant sheet pizzas in the morning, display them under heat lamps, sell slices all day. That pizza could have been made 8 or 12 hours ago. Official policy says pizza shouldn't be held longer than 4 hours, but employees confirm this is routinely ignored. One worker posted, "We just rotated pans to make it look fresh. As long as it wasn't visibly dried out, we kept selling it." Everything is designed for durability under heat lamps. Cheese has extra stabilizers. Sauce contains additional sugar and preservatives. Crust is par-baked, frozen, then finished on site. Health inspections reveal recurring issues: employees not wearing gloves, pizzas at unsafe temperatures, surfaces not properly sanitized. The XLNY pizza is marketed as authentic New York style, except real New York pizza uses high-protein flour, cold fermented dough, quality mozzarella. Sbarro uses standard flour, frozen thawed dough, and a cheese blend heavy on fillers. The stuffed pizza packs 800 calories and 1,500 milligrams of sodium in one slice, more than most people should eat in an entire day. Sbarro knows what it is. The problem is too many people treat it like real pizza, when it's really just pizza-shaped fast food, sitting under a lamp since breakfast. Cicis. At number 6, Cicis Pizza charges less than $10 for unlimited pizza, pasta, and dessert. If that sounds too good to be true, it's because it is. The business model is volume, maximum people, minimum ingredient quality, profit on sheer numbers. Their cheese isn't traditional cheese. Testing shows Cicis's blend contains more fillers and extenders than actual dairy, modified food starch, cellulose. Imitation mozzarella make up a significant portion. The sauce is mostly tomato paste and corn syrup, more sugar per serving than any other major chain, because sugar is cheaper than actual tomatoes. The crust is loaded with preservatives and dough conditioners, so it can sit for days without going bad. Dough balls are made in massive batches and used over several days. The buffet format creates serious sanitation issues. Hundreds of people, many children, using the same serving utensils, touching food, putting it back, sneezing over the buffet line. Health reports show Cicis locations consistently rank worst for buffet sanitation: missing sneeze guards, food at unsafe temperatures, cross-contamination between raw and cooked items. One health inspector noted seeing people drop pizza and put it back on the buffet, while staff either didn't notice or didn't care. Turnover is high, staffing minimal, proper monitoring impossible. The dessert pizzas are nutritional nightmares: cinnamon rolls and brownies loaded with partially hydrogenated oils, artificial colors, and massive amounts of sugar. People go to Cicis knowing what they're getting, they just don't realize how cheap we're actually talking. Round Table markets itself as premium with the slogan, "The Last Honest Pizza," suggesting they're one of the few chains doing things right. That's why number 5 hits so hard. They charge premium prices and position themselves as higher quality, but their cheese, despite claims of being 100% real, contains the same fillers as cheaper chains. Independent testing found Round Table's blend was indistinguishable from Pizza Hut's. The vegetables, marketed as fresh, are pre-cut and shipped from central facilities, sitting in refrigeration for days before reaching your pizza. In 2018, a whistleblower claimed Round Table knowingly served expired ingredients, using sauce past expiration, moldy vegetables that were trimmed and used anyway, cheese stored improperly developing off flavors. Health investigations found violations supporting these claims: expired products, inadequate temperature control, untrained staff. One former manager admitted online, "Corporate pushed hard on food cost. We were expected to use everything before throwing it away. Sometimes that meant using borderline stuff. I quit because I couldn't keep doing it." The signature King Arthur's Supreme sounds appealing, but the meats are processed with nitrates and preservatives. Vegetables are days old. Round Table markets themselves as honest, premium, better, but they're using the same cost-cutting measures as cheaper chains while charging premium prices. You're getting marketing, not quality. Marco's Pizza has been rapidly expanding, marketing themselves as authentic Italian pizza, fresh dough made daily, original sauce recipe, quality ingredients. At number 4, Marco's represents a different problem, a slow slide into mediocrity as growth outpaced quality control. When Marco's was smaller, they genuinely did things differently: real fresh dough, sauce from quality tomatoes, actual mozzarella. As they expanded from a few hundred locations to over 1,000, maintaining those standards became impossible. Franchise owners started cutting corners under profit pressure. The fresh dough claim is technically true, made daily in stores, but what goes into it has changed. Dough conditioners, extra yeast to speed fermentation, preservatives that weren't in the original formula. One longtime employee noticed, in 2015 the dough process took all day. By 2020, we used a fast-track recipe that cut time in half. Corporate said it was more efficient. We knew it tasted different. The sauce has been reformulated multiple times. Taste tests show Marco's sauce now contains more sugar and salt than 5 years ago, a sign of cost-cutting with cheaper tomatoes. The 3-cheese blend, mozzarella, provolone, and parmesan, sounds quality. What they don't advertise is the mozzarella and provolone are now blends themselves, mixed with cheaper cheeses and fillers. Former franchise owners spoke about corporate pressure. One said they wanted growth at all costs. Targets went up every quarter. Food costs had to come down. The only way to hit numbers was cutting quality. Marco's isn't bad pizza, but it's not the authentic Italian experience they're selling. It's another corporate chain that sacrificed what made it special for rapid expansion. Papa Murphy's holds an interesting position at number 3. They're a take and bake chain, meaning you pick up the pizza uncooked and bake it at home. On paper, this sounds great. Fresh ingredients. You control the baking. It's hot right out of your oven. The reality is more complicated. First, let's talk about the ingredients. Papa Murphy's markets heavily on freshness, showing vegetables being chopped and dough being made. What they don't show is where those ingredients come from. Investigation by food safety advocates found that Papa Murphy's sources many ingredients from the same industrial suppliers as Pizza Hut and Domino's. The vegetables are pre-washed and cut at central facilities, then shipped to stores. By the time they reach your pizza, they've been in transit and storage for up to a week. The cheese blend, advertised as real mozzarella, contains the industry standard fillers. The meats are processed, loaded with sodium and preservatives. But here's the bigger issue with Papa Murphy's. The take and bake model creates food safety risks that cooked pizza doesn't have. That pizza sitting in your car for 30 minutes on the drive home, it's entering the temperature danger zone, where bacteria multiply rapidly. Papa Murphy's recommends refrigerating the pizza if you won't bake it within an hour, but many customers don't follow that guideline. Multiple cases of food poisoning have been linked to Papa Murphy's pizzas that were left at room temperature too long before baking. The company says proper handling is the customer's responsibility, but critics argue they're passing food safety risk onto consumers. Then, there's the cross-contamination issue. Papa Murphy's employees handle raw meats, vegetables, and cheese constantly. Despite protocols, health inspections have found inadequate hand washing, employees touching ready-to-eat ingredients after handling raw meat, and contaminated surfaces. One health inspector noted, "The problem with Papa Murphy's model is the product leaves their store uncooked. If there's contamination from improper handling, the customer won't know until they or their family gets sick, and by then, proving where the contamination came from is nearly impossible." The stuffed pizzas, where ingredients are literally stuffed between two layers of dough, are particularly risky if not baked to the proper internal temperature, which many home ovens struggle with. The center can remain underdone, leaving potential bacteria alive. Papa Murphy's has faced lawsuits over food poisoning incidents, while they've never lost a major case. The pattern suggests systemic problems with their model. Former employees have shared that training on food safety is minimal, one said. "They taught us how to make pizzas fast. They barely mentioned hand washing or cross-contamination. The focus was speed and sales. You might bake Papa Murphy's pizza in your oven, but you can't bake away contamination that happened before it reached your home." California Pizza. Kitchen at number 2 might shock people. CPK positions itself as upscale, innovative, the chain that brought BBQ chicken pizza to mainstream America. But beneath that polished surface is a company that's lost its way completely. CPK's original Beverly Hills concept in 1985 was genuinely different. Fresh ingredients, creative combinations, real quality. Fast forward to 2025, CPK is a shell of that vision. In 2022, employees shared what really happens in their kitchens. Frozen pizza crusts from central facilities, sauce from industrial cans, not fresh tomatoes, toppings arriving pre-portioned in plastic bags. One cook said, "We barely cook anything from scratch. The crust is frozen, sauce is canned, even the chicken is pre-cooked. We assemble and heat. For what they charge, it's insulting." The signature BBQ chicken pizza uses sauce that's mostly high fructose corn syrup with artificial smoke flavoring. The chicken is factory farmed, raised on antibiotics. What earns CPK the number 2 spot is the disconnect between price and quality. A pizza easily costs $25 to $30. For that, you'd expect quality ingredients, careful preparation, attention to detail. Instead, frozen crust, canned sauce, toppings barely better than Domino's, all while paying 3 times as much. The Thai chicken pizza sounds exotic. Reality is pre-cooked chicken, bottled peanut sauce, packaged vegetables, nothing made in-house. Health inspections reveal troubling patterns: inadequate food storage, allergen cross-contamination, employees not following hand-washing protocols. One former manager admitted, "CPK's business model is built on perception of quality, not actual quality. We charge more for atmosphere and branding. The food is barely different from Applebee's, sometimes worse." CPK has closed hundreds of locations recently. Customers are realizing they're paying premium prices for mediocre food in a nicer dining room. California in California. Pizza Kitchen used to mean fresh, innovative, quality. Now it just means overpriced. Pizza by the slice, generic. Our number 1 spot doesn't go to a specific chain. It goes to a category, those independent pizza by the slice shops you find in food courts, strip malls, and tourist areas across America. No specific name because they go by 100 different names. New York style pizza, original pizza, Ray's Pizza, Famous Joe's Pizza. These places represent the absolute bottom of the barrel, and here's why. First, there's zero accountability. Unlike chains, which have corporate standards and regular inspections, these independent slice shops operate in the shadows. Many are cash only, barely registered, operating under minimal oversight. The business model is simple: buy the cheapest possible ingredients, make massive sheet pizzas, sell them by the slice throughout the day, maximize profit. The cheese at these places is often not even cheese blend. It's imitation mozzarella, made from vegetable oil, milk powder, and flavorings. It's designed to look and melt like cheese at a fraction of the cost. The sauce is the cheapest tomato paste mixed with water and seasoning. No actual tomatoes, just paste and spices. The crust is made from the most basic flour, yeast, and dough conditioners, with no attempt at quality. But the real horrors happen behind the scenes. Health inspectors who've surveyed these establishments report violations at rates far higher than any chain. We're talking rodent droppings in flour storage, insects in the kitchen, employees with zero food safety training, equipment that hasn't been cleaned in months. One inspector shared, "I've seen things in pizza by the slice places that would shut down a chain restaurant immediately. Grease buildup so thick, it's a fire hazard. Toppings stored at room temperature for days. Cheese that smells off, but gets used anyway." These places survive because of location and price. They're often in areas with high foot traffic where people want cheap, quick food. Tourists, students, late-night crowds, nobody's going back to complain because they'll never see the place again. The pizza could be made 10 hours ago, it doesn't matter, they'll sell it anyway. One employee at a slice shop admitted, "We were told to keep selling until it's gone. Didn't matter if it was dry, hard, or weird colored. As long as someone would buy it, we sold it." Many of these shops have connections to larger underground ingredient networks. They're buying expired cheese from distributors, meat that failed inspection, vegetables that supermarkets rejected. There are no supply chain standards, no corporate oversight, no brand reputation to protect, just whatever's cheapest being passed off as New York-style pizza. The health risks are real. Cases of food poisoning from these establishments rarely get reported because victims don't know the name of the place or can't track it down afterwards, but doctors in major cities see these cases constantly. One doctor noted, "We get patients all the time with food poisoning who ate at some random pizza place. By the time they're sick enough to come in, they can't remember the name or exact location." These places operate with impunity. If you see pizza by the slice sitting under heat lamps with no clear name, no health grade posted, and suspiciously low prices, walk away. You're not getting a deal. You're risking your health for a slice of pizza that's been sitting out since this morning, made with ingredients that barely qualify as food. The 4 pizza chains, worth your money. After exposing the worst, let's talk about hope. 4 chains that still do pizza right. Number 4, Blaze Pizza. Blaze earns respect for transparency. Their dough is made fresh every morning in every location. You can watch it being stretched. The toppings are fresh, prepped daily, not pre-portioned from bags. They use real mozzarella, not blends. Their sauce is made from California tomatoes with minimal additives. The fast-fired cooking method in 900-degree ovens creates a genuinely crispy crust. Most importantly, Blaze has embraced radical transparency. They publish their ingredient lists, source information, even nutritional breakdowns for custom pizzas. That level of openness is rare in the industry. Number 3, Modi Pizza. Modi takes a similar approach to Blaze, but adds social responsibility. They hire people who face barriers to employment, giving second chances to those who need them. The pizza itself is solid, fresh dough, quality ingredients, unlimited toppings at one price. But what sets MOD apart is their commitment to making every pizza fresh to order. No exceptions. Employees are trained extensively in food safety. Health inspection scores at MOD locations are consistently excellent. The company culture prioritizes doing things right over doing things fast. Number 2, Lou Malnati's. For those lucky enough to live near a location, Lou Malnati's represents Chicago deep dish done right, real butter crust, actual sausage made from quality pork, fresh mozzarella layered generously. Lou Malnati's hasn't cut corners as they've grown. The family still runs the company with the same standards that made the original location famous in 1971. They refuse to franchise, maintaining direct control over every location. They won't compromise on ingredients even when costs rise. They've stayed true to what made them great. Number 1, your local independent pizzeria. Not the slice shops we warned against. We're talking about the real neighborhood pizzeria, the one that's been there for 20 years, where the owner's name is on the sign and they're working the counter every night. These places, the ones that survive through reputation and quality rather than location and price, are doing pizza the right way. They're making dough fresh daily, using real mozzarella from local dairies, buying vegetables from local suppliers, creating sauce from whole tomatoes, not paste. The owner's reputation is on every pizza. They can't afford to cut corners because their entire business depends on repeat customers who know the difference between real pizza and assembly line food. Find that place in your town, build a relationship, become a regular. That's where you'll get the best pizza, made by people who actually care about what they're serving. Final thoughts. Pizza should be simple: dough, sauce, cheese, toppings, but the industry has turned it into a chemistry experiment where profit matters more than the people eating it. From wood pulp in the cheese, to hair-derived dough conditioners to sauce that's more corn syrup than tomato, what's being sold as pizza has become something else entirely. The worst part? Most people don't even know. They trust brand names, fall for marketing, assume that because it's a national chain, it must be safe. Now you know better. Next time you order pizza, think about what you just learned. Ask questions, read ingredients, support places that deserve it. Your health and your family's health is worth more than convenience. If this video changed how you see pizza, share it with someone who needs to know. Drop a comment telling me which chain shocked you most, or which local pizzeria in your town is doing it right. Subscribe so you never miss when we expose what's really in your food. Thanks for watching. Until next time, choose wisely, eat better, and demand the truth.